Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to the... Oh, yep. Now it's time for a little trick. You might be sensing, oh no. Oh shit, the Tormented Soul, that's what I called it. Yeah, here's a trick you can use. Climb up the ladder, and go back down again. You might think we'll be walking to our doom, or that mutated Danny DeVito would follow us, but, no. It seems that the Tormented Soul is, RNGesus. So yeah, that's pretty much the trick if you want to avoid taking damage from the Tormented Soul. Again, just go into an area, wait for the music cue, exit an area if you hear it, and trust me, you will, because, well, it's kind of painfully obvious to be honest. And then just go back in, go on your merry way, and you can pretty much go uninterrupted. Yeah, bit of a shame really. I suppose that does kind of take the sting out of the fear factor when you can find little exploits like that, but I mean, bear in mind, this isn't something I found out in my first playthrough. It was really more to do with, well, it wasn't my first... No, was it? Ah, fuck it, I don't remember. Anyway, the point is that, exploits kind of take away the fear, but only if you know how to use them. And of course, we picked up Anna's diary once again, and we learned that despite the fact that she escaped, yeah, she's not anywhere around the mansion. In fact, well, she's been captured again by her evil grandfather. And again, she's pretty much been locked in a secure location far away from Caroline's reach. And, well, considering the fact that we're back in the present, she's either dead again from, well, starvation, as we saw before, or, well, all things considered, well, she's probably in a lot of pain. But yeah, apart from that, it pretty much just means that, well, among other things, Anna is still alive, and in turn, well, we gotta rescue her, because God knows being locked up in a cell, hearing the cult just outside your door, yeah, pants to be darkened, my dear children, so let's get a move on. Of course, that's not the only reason you're pretty much skulking about these premises, because, a door that is locked from the other side. I smell plot progression! Another Frankenwalker. This calls for the shoot gun. Made of sulfur. And again, I've probably questioned this time and time again, but can you really make, like, a shotgun out of, like, a few pipes and, like, sulfur as the basis of an explosion? I mean, I'm not sure about the volatile nature of sulfur, or if it even is a viable compound for an explosive, but I don't know, it seems a little bit too conveniently MacGyver, but I mean, I do appreciate them for at least trying to go with a more naturalistic explanation as to, you know, why there isn't, you know, a bloody handgun or machine gun ammo just lying around a hospital. I don't know, I suppose one you could possibly chalk up to Caroline being very creative. Another aspect you could either just chalk down to, well, who knows really. I guess maybe she has knowledge that eludes her. And anyway, this is more of Bertram's diary, and I believe the first time you hear of the term Pollock sect, which means that, again, this Silent Hillish cult possibly has other sects. Well, sects. S-E-C-T, not sex, because apparently we're all fucking childish. But yeah, basically, the short and sweet of it is that the ritual is going as planned, and, well, whatever. Happy days. And here's Bertram's card. Scratched out his eyes, for some reason, but yeah, that's pretty much the last thing we need in order to unlock the Mausoleum. And, well, yeah, pretty much our penultimate area of the game. Which is part of the reason why I'm pretty much going at this, not necessarily as a final session, because there are still lengthy chunks of gameplay left to go. But again, I am making a conscious effort as of, you know, right now to try and get Tormented Souls finished, and, you know, basically get Kingdom Hearts 2 underway again, because, man, it's been a bit too long, and, again, my schedule around, you know, November, December, all the way through to pretty much March, actually, is, very jam-packed, so yeah, I don't know, just desperately trying to balance out my days and get Tormented Souls recorded. And off ski-we-go-ski. I was considering on cutting this out, but to be honest, yeah. And again, that's also part of the reason why you pause. Typically speaking, the Tormented Soul won't spawn right where Caroline is, at least depending on where you are. I mean, the music does take a little while to kick in, which is why you should usually pay dividends to waiting a little bit in specific areas, but it's never going to be anything where, you know, it'll just teleport right next to you, take a bite out of you, and, you know, completely spoil your day. It's just, I don't know, bizarre programming quirks, but you at least the game treats you fair enough so that you're not going to be completely screwed every which way and sideways just by, you know, standing there. Anyway, down we go into the creepy basement. And, yeah, we're not going to be exploring the full precipice of the Mausoleum this part, but we are getting to, well, a rather important part that, is very good ending intensive. I mean, if you decide not to do this, you're not completely screwed out because, well, without spoiling anything, the scalpel comes in handy for its, intended purpose. But yeah, putting that aside, important things, and, arguably one of the game's best puzzles, but also one of its most, difficult, or at least depending on whether or not you're intuitive to your typical survival horror puzzle scenarios. And yes, first we must take out the enemies that haunt the Mausoleum. Yeah, it's pretty much right down there, but first we have a pufferfish in between here and there, so, yes. The darkness cannot hide you for long. Well, I don't know why I'm doing that voice. Probably just for filler commentary. But anyway. That's actually a bit disconcerting though. I'm not really too sure, because sometimes the shotgun's a one-hit kill, other times it's just whatever. A literal signposting's telling you to stop. I wonder what's going on here. Danger, death, stop. Oh look, and we have a literal thought bubble telling you to save. Like, I mean, again, that's a bit on the nose, but at the same time, like, I mean, it is a hallmark of good game design to let your players know ahead of time, you know, to save before something very life-changing happens, because, you know, you don't want to be put in a situation where you might fuck up on getting a certain ending that you want, so, you know what, props to Abstract Digital Works and Dual Effect. You earn my kudos. Even if kind of obvious, like, because, I mean, you gotta think in terms of, like, in-game logistics, like, I mean, what exactly was the purpose for people designing the signs? Like, did the Pollock sect have members of their cult get lost in the Infinite Room? Actually, that kind of makes sense, to be honest. So, yeah, never mind, it would only make sense to somebody who designed it, which I suppose in this case would be, Bertram and later William, who, again, as we heard earlier on in the game, was pretty much using his father's laboratory as the basis of his research to save Maria. So, yeah, actually it all kind of works out nicely. And as you can probably tell, with a lack of, dialogue or anything of the sort, yes indeed, this is mostly a commutative gameplay. So, yeah, so if you have more game in our game, then that means game good, because game. Well, not as if you're playing it really, but whatever. That's just how the dice is rolled. So anyway, let's ignore the warnings and go in. You should not have entered here. And that'll be the thumbnail for this video. So, ladies and gentle dudes, this is the Infinite Room. There's no way out, exit out of any of the doors, you are pretty much screwed every which way in Sunday. You have 4 urns, you have several different doors to enter through, and of course you have a few signposts telling you what these doors really are. So again, I'm pretty much going to go through the Infinite Room step by step to basically tell you what's, you know, the go around here. Again, basically you have 4 urns, each containing different elements and, you know, stuff inside them, some water, some sand, some organs, or incense I think the game calls it. And again, basically, one key tell to know that you're doing the puzzle right is to look at the chandelier above you and see some lit candles. Again, the more candles are lit up, then the closer you are to completing it, and when the whole thing's lit up, well, just enter through a door and, well, you're free. Provided that you get the sequence right, because, yeah, this does have to be done in certain sequence. You don't have to examine the urns or anything, that's pretty much just there for decoration and or telling you which way to go, as is indicative of the compass down there. And the thing that you need to be paying attention to, as your guide, so to speak, is, well, the epitaph describing the story. Again, the story itself is very much like a linear sequence of events of, I'm going off in search of, Carpenter's gold. So again, you pretty much pick the gold door. Then it's, you know, something like, oh no, my ship was broken apart and I was clinging to a wooden board. Go through the wooden door. Then after, and, you know, pretty much so on and so forth until he practically winds up on an island, so choose the dirt. Oh no, I'm dying of thirst, looking over the eastern horizon, and then I'm dead. A bit of a terse choice of words, but again, all I'm really going to say is basically follow the gameplay sequence from the video that you're watching rather than my waffling words, because, well, I can't speak gooder. And yeah, that's... I mean, I was planning on cutting this down to show the correct sequence, which is pretty much going from here, but yeah. If you get the sequence wrong, all the candles you lit will pretty much go extinct, and, extinguished. You fucking idiot. But yeah, follow the sequence from, well, this point, and you should be golden, dudes. And again, I will say, if I could give the game yet another tongue bath, I really do like how intuitively this puzzle is laid out. It's very Silent Hill in its execution, and... well, again, I can see why they chose this one to be the difference maker between whether or not you get the good ending or not. It's not necessarily the puzzle itself, but rather the area that you... oh, I got that wrong too. Maybe I should have cut this down. But anyway, it's basically the area that you get to after that, which contains certain items that will ultimately affect whether or not you get the good ending, or... how would I put this? I suppose maybe the normal plus ending? Because, yeah, certain tragic events, and, at least in terms of my personally preferred chronology for Tormented Souls, yeah, normal plus is pretty much the way to go, but you can only achieve that with getting a certain item. It's also worth noting that the, normal plus ending is pretty much... well, I mean, that kind of delves into endgame territory, and I'm not going to spoil too much, but, yeah. I like to do this room, get the item that you need in question, do certain plot-specific things, and, well, pretty much just go for the normal ending after that. I don't know, to me it kind of makes the most sense, and, well, in terms of Tormented Souls' good ending, I don't know whether or not they're setting up for a sequel, or, I don't know, maybe the game developers might be expanding upon the cult, or maybe following up on certain plot threads at the end of the game, but I am kinda iffy on that. I mean, I won't say that the ending was rushed, necessarily, but the good ending itself feels kind of, flimsy, but that kinda delves into, well, game mechanics. It's also worth noting that every time you enter a door, the specific door patterns and where everything is, kind of changes, so... again, you can't just pick one, trying to remember the sequence and go doolally for whatever. Again, you do need to follow the story, and if you don't follow the story and pay attention to the directions, then, well, you're buggered. But anyway, we're pretty much almost done with this puzzle, so... what's the last story to tell? There's a buzz that I'm going to die as I see that sea on the horizon. It kind of reminds me of the Police song, Message in a Bottle, yeah. We're free! And, also, you never have to worry about going through the infinite room ever again, so you don't need to do, like, a reverse sequence thing. It's literally just so you can get the item here, skedaddle, save your game, I don't know, have a party on the patio, on the beach, wherever good times are had, in the monastery with the Frankenwalkers. And yeah. I mean, of course, there is more than just the plot-related item, but I mean, you do also get a little bit more backstory on Bertram, the final entry of the Tismet tribe, and again, it's all pretty sweet. Come on, get your shine on. Your death is inevitable, Frankenwalker. And of course, more radiation suits. Which, probably wouldn't filter out radiation for that long, so, yeah. I mean, especially considering how, antiquated they look by today's standards. Well, I mean, even in today's day and age, radiation still isn't anything to scoff at necessarily, unless it's got lead shielding, but still. Oh god, those poor souls. Truly they are the Tormented Souls. Movie voice, coming soon to a theater near you. Yes, it seems that there are bunkers down here, so what were these people preparing for? Nuclear war? The rise of the god! And a rather lavish, area right here. Yes, very Malay Island. But yeah, this is pretty much the area that you needed to get to. So first, let us claim our victory. Ah, a syringe filled with mysterious liquid. So yes, indeedy, that is pretty much the cure that William Wildberger created for Maria. The one that temporarily restored her sanity before she, well, died. But on to more important notes, it seems that Bertram is having a change of heart. I mean, he might have started off as bloody doolally cult leader, but now he seems to be actively enjoying being a granddad. He seems to like the slippers that Emma and Emma made for him, and even though, well, they don't exactly fit, he finds the gesture comforting. As if his heart has grown 3 sizes that day and he's learned that family is more important than Jesus. Because even though it's only okay for one man to love another, it is Jesus who you must love. But yeah, this is also why some of the other diary entries in Bertram's diary begin to mention about how the rest of the Pollux sector is getting a bit restless, and how he's kind of at ends with himself, because again, he wants to go through with the ritual, bring God into the world, and have everything be hunky-dory. At the same time, though, he's also grown attached to his little sprogs. So he's in a conundrum. Do I sacrifice these little babies to baby Jesus, or do I love them, protect them, nurture them, like I did me son, when I chased him with my cult members? Why is he suddenly Irish? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, more ammunition and more stuff, and now we get the final remnant on the Tismet tribe. By the way, can I just say that, like, I mean, as an Australian, it's really weird to hear other countries use the term Aboriginal. Because, I mean, to me, that typically tends to refer to, you know, traditional owners of the land, which, I mean, I guess is probably where the term is used elsewhere as well, but I don't know, just it kind of seems a bit weird that for a game that takes place in Canada, has stuff that I always thought was kind of Australian terminology. Anyway, that's just my little ramble. Thank you for listening. And good mental health. Except for Caroline, who's probably going to be suffering a fate worse than death, even more than what she already had, because she kind of lost her eye at this point. Ah, well, I'm sure the scalpel will be to blame for this. But yeah, that's very important if you want to get the good ending. There are a few more extra steps that, well, I kind of missed out on the first playthrough, which is why I got the normal plus ending, as I like to call it, but yeah. Very important that you get that blue liquid, and it requires the completion of the infinite room, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, if you just want to go for the normal ending as is, then just go on your merry way, ignore it, and, well, save a bit of time on your gameplay. Which does actually make me wonder, like, in terms of speedrunning purposes, what would be the quickest way to complete Tormented Souls in terms of endings? I suppose maybe the bad ending, since you wouldn't have to waste time, but whatever. On that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time on the Tormented Souls commentary, we're going to explore the rest of the Mausoleum. Catch you dudes and dudettes next time. Bye-bye.